I gotta quit eating to tell you that Bruce and I have a brand new book out, Instant Pot Bible, The Next Generation. And one of the things that we did in that book is we took what are now Instant Pot classics in Instant Pot Bible, The Next Generation, and we bumped them up. And so this is a video to bump up what is now a classic IP dish, taco spaghetti. Okay, taco spaghetti. Here we go. I didn't know anything about this until we started working with Instant Pots. This is a phenomenon in Instant Pot groups. Unbelievable, but Bruce and I wanted to change it just a little bit. I'll explain that as we go along. I'm working with an 8-quart Instant Pot. You can do this exact recipe in a 5, 6, or 8 quart. It'll work in all of them, and everything I'm telling you will hold to that. At the end, I'll tell you what to do if you have a 3 quart, there's a way to do this, or a 10 quart, there's a way to do this. So, okay, here we go. Get your pot on the saute setting. In mine, I'm gonna give it 30 minutes on saute because I want to have plenty of time in it. And let it heat, and as it starts to heat, now it's going. As it starts to heat, put 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of vegetable oil in the pot. Doesn't matter what kind, corn oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, safflower oil, you pick it. But 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of vegetable oil in the pot. Okay, next is gonna go in the onions and the bell pepper. Here's the recipe. A medium yellow or white onion chopped and a medium green bell pepper cored, seeded, and chopped. Here's the pro tip. When you're working with an Instant Pot, really there's only 2 ways to cut onions, big or small. I'm serious, it's the only way. All this diced and chopped and finely chopped, it really doesn't matter. If the pieces are small, they will melt under pressure. If they're large, they'll stay together under pressure. So you want larger bits of onion here, so chopped, and you want bell pepper chopped, that won't melt so much. But there's a lot of recipes for taco spaghetti on the internet in which people add sugar to it. Pro tip 2, instead of adding sugar to this, change the sweetness of it based on the onion. Do you want it sweeter? Okay, add a large onion. If you want it less sweet than mine, add a small onion. Use the onion to balance the sweetness in the overall dish. Okay, so now I'm gonna put those in the pot and I'm gonna just get them softened just a bit. So the trick is just to get these, I don't know, coated in the oil, softened just to a little bit. Remember, the pot is going to take care of the softening itself, the pressure. So we don't have to do this as if we were doing it on a stovetop. We just want to get a little head start on softening these vegetables. So I would say 2 minutes. 2 minutes is good with sauteing on high. 2 minutes is good. 3 minutes if you want to go crazy, but you don't have to wait that long. Okay, good enough. Good enough for me. So I'm going to add the garlic. Again, you can vary this. I'm going to put a tablespoon of minced garlic in here. Why didn't I add the garlic with the onion and the bell pepper? Because garlic is already a dried food product and it has a tendency to burn, especially on pressure. It has a tendency to suck to the bottom of the pot and stick there. So add it really late in the cooking process of the vegetables when you're sweating them up front. Okay, now a pound of lean ground beef. Pro tip 3, lean. Bruce and I think this all the time about working inside of an Instant Pot. I know that I love fatty, unctuous burgers. I love that more than I can even say. But there is no fat reduction inside the pot. That fat that is given off by the ground beef has no place to go except inside the pot itself. So you're better off using lean ground beef for casseroles like this in an Instant Pot. On top of the stove, that extra moisture has a chance to reduce and boil off a bit, not in the pot. So again, lean ground beef is the best. And what you want to do here is just brown it. We're not going to cook it. Just get it brown and make sure all the vegetables are mixed in. Do a little work here to make a more combined casserole that's ahead. In terms of lean ground beef, we're talking 90%, 93%, somewhere right in there. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to get to 95% if you can find it. You don't have to go that high, but 90, 93%, that's about what you want for the ground beef. Again, just to keep the thing from being quite so over the top. Listen, I'm going to put enough cheese in this. You want to save a little on the fat in the ground beef anyway. So there you go. Okay, good enough. browned, a little bit browned. Now go in all the spices. And this is where Bruce and I really wanted to kick this recipe up, to change it, to bump it up in some way. So here's what I'm going to put in all at once. 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder, and I mean just the standard North American blend chili powder. Nothing fancy here, just the standard North American blend. 1.5 tablespoons. 1.5 tablespoons of mild paprika. 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. A teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All that goes in at once. Again, you know, I saw somebody make this on an Instant Pot group on Facebook the other day. Someone from Holland made this, and she complained that it was dull. And I thought to myself, we also, when we first started testing recipes for taco spaghetti, we also thought they were kind of dull. She needs to up her spices by a lot. 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder, 1.5 tablespoons of mild paprika. One of the things we've discovered after book on the Instant Pot is that the Instant Pot eats spices like crazy. It just eats them up. So always add a little more than you think. Okay, good enough. Now, 2 10-ounce cans or 280-gram cans of Rotel tomatoes. I'm a Texas boy. I'm using Rotel. I know there are other brands out there, but you know what? I'm a Texas boy and I gotta use Rotel. Rotel is chopped tomatoes with green chilies. It now comes in hot or mild varieties. I don't know why anyone would ever use the mild variety, but good for you if you want to use it. I want it good and spicy. So I get that in. I scrape up just a little bit of whatever's down in there. Perfect. And now to bump this thing even farther up, I got 2 cups. I'm using chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth if you want. You can use beef broth. 2 cups of broth and a cup or 160 grams of corn. This is another thing Bruce and I did to this recipe. We wanted it to be more satisfying, and so we wanted to bump the vegetables up, add more bell pepper, add corn to the recipe, which is not necessarily in all the recipes that you can find out there. Again, we wanted this to be more like a true one-pot meal. Vegetables, meat, spaghetti, the whole thing. Okay, it's all in there. And now the trick of the pasta. I've got 12 ounces or about 340 grams of spaghetti. You can use gluten-free spaghetti for this. We recommend that you do not use a brand that is solely rice or brown rice flour, but is a combination of grains, including corn flour in there. But you can use gluten-free. I'm just using standard spaghetti for this, but here's what you have to do. Spaghetti won't necessarily fit in the pot, so you have to take it bit by bit and break it. And I have broken this into smaller bits, and you want to lay these in kind of a cross-hatch pattern across the top of the pot. I got spaghetti running all over the counter. It's ridiculous. 12 ounces of this stuff. And once you get it on here, the only thing you want to do to this is press it down just slightly. Oh, losing spaghetti. I'm losing spaghetti everywhere. Okay, you want to take this and you want to press this down just slightly. You don't have to go crazy. It has to just get into the sauce a minute. I think I'm spraying it. It has to just get down slightly into it. See how it's just getting moistened on it? That's what you want. It's just like that. 6 minutes, pressure cook. Lid on the pot. Make sure your valve is closed for pressure. Press start if your machine requires it. This one does. And wait for 6 minutes. We're going to follow up by a quick release. For this complete recipe, click below me. There's a breakout box. It'll have all the ingredients, all the method itself down there, and subscribe to this channel. Like it. We could use likes. Likes are always great. Drop a comment. We'll talk back to you. And check out our podcast, Cooking with Bruce and Mark, wherever podcasts are found. So now use, as Julia Child would have said, the courage of your conviction and do a quick release. Okay, we can open it up. Here's pro tip number 4. No matter how hard you try, sometimes spaghetti clumps. So take 2 forks. I got 2 meat forks. Take 2 forks and pull it. Oh, this didn't clump at all. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. All right, once you get the spaghetti and the sauce mixed up, a little bit mixed up, Now I'm going to add the cheese. So what I'm going to put in here is 8 ounces or 225 grams of shredded cheese. I'm using half and half Monterey Jack and American sharp cheddar. You can use any variety of cheese you like. It should be something like cheddar or American cheddar or Monterey Jack. Of course, you can use the already grated up stuff. I told you there was going to be a lot of cheese. And then mix this in just a bit. You don't have to go crazy here, because what I want you to do is mix this in, and then we put the lid back on the pot and let's set it aside for 2-3 minutes just to let that cheese melt. Put the lid on just loosely like that, just loosely on top. We'll come back. I'm going to taste it. Okay, I'm ready to taste it, but I have to tell you 2 things. If you have a 3-quart Instant Pot, you can make this recipe as stated, except you must reduce everything by 50%. Everything in the recipe must come down by 50%. Timing's the same, everything else is the same. And if you have a 10-quart, you must up the ingredients by 50%. So you gotta go up for a 10-quart by 50%. Otherwise, everything's the same. And third thing, if you have a Max model, Max machines only, you can cook it at max for 4 minutes, but that's no other model except the Max machine. Okay, that's enough said. Let's taste, right? Why not? Oh, it's so, look at this. Look how cheesy this is. Cheesy goodness. Oh, come on. What kid wouldn't want this? What adult wouldn't want this? What me wouldn't want this? Look at this. It's cheesy, gooey, stringy, yummy. It's fabulous. I can put jalapenos on it. I'll tell you something in a minute. Good grief. Taco spaghetti. You can put jalapenos on it. You can also get really crazy, and I also like it with pickle relish as a garnish on it. Believe it or not, it tastes really good with pickle relish. Believe me, that vinegary little spike there. Oh, I got my jalapeno going. So before I get this jalapeno in my mouth, let me just say, rate this video, subscribe to this podcast, check out Bruce and Mark. We have got tons of stuff ahead in the hopper, lots of things, but man, taco spaghetti, come on.